In this edition of the Parliament Report, a stern warning to public bodies with outstanding annual reports. PAC members stunned by revelations at Inland Revenue Department. And help coming for students who have not mastered the Grade 4 literacy test. Budgetary allocations to public bodies with outstanding annual reports may in future be frozen until the entities become compliant. Parliament's Public Administration and Appropriations Committee, the PAAC, says it will be pushing for this recommendation to be accepted by lawmakers. Chairman of the committee, Dr. Wickham McNeil, threw down the gauntlet on March 2 when he sent a strong message to chairmen of the boards of public bodies. Dr. McNeil said, "From here on, those who are not compliant, our recommendations will be to cut off the funding until they do become compliant, because they cannot be approving the estimates of expenditure and there is a disregard for the procedures to be done." He was addressing scores of executives of government departments and agencies in Gordon House on March 2. The heads of about 40 public bodies were summoned before the PAAC to explain why their entities had been in a state of delinquency in respect of annual reports. Some public bodies had outstanding annual reports dating back to the 1990s. At least 16 entities under the Office of the Prime Minister were found wanting, as they had not submitted annual reports for a number of years. Committee member Dr. St. Aubin Bartlett called for tough sanctions against heads of public bodies whose agencies had flouted the Public Bodies Management and Accountability Act, the PBMA. Bartlett argued that the same public bodies that have ignored the requirements of the PBMA have submitted their quarterly contract awards reports to the Office of the Contractor General, the OCG, on time. He suggested that the fear of being hauled before the Director of Public Prosecutions by the OCG may have motivated these entities to file reports to the oversight body by the stipulated deadline. 9 months after 1,500 motor vehicle registration certificates disappeared under the watch of 2 employees at the Inland Revenue Department, no action has been taken against them despite recommendations that penalties should be imposed. The high-profile Public Accountability Inspectorate, the PAI, in the Ministry of Finance had recommended that the 2 employees be sanctioned. Deputy Commissioner of the Inland Revenue Department, the IRD, Padan Manning, says he had also recommended that the workers be removed from their positions. He says one of the employees was subsequently transferred, but noted that his transferal had nothing to do with the missing motor vehicle documents. Manning says he first heard of the missing documents in the electronic media, a comment which left committee members in stitches. Manning, along with a number of his colleagues, had appeared before the Public Accounts Committee of Parliament on March 2. Auditor General Pamela Monroe Ellis had made a startling revelation in her annual report for 2010. She said 2 Teslins, material used to prepare driver's licenses, 1,500 motor vehicle registration certificates, and 13 blank motor vehicle titles could not be accounted for at one of the storerooms where access is restricted to 2 persons. Quizzed as to why no action has been taken against the 2 workers, Manning divulged that the matter was turned over to the IRD Commissioner. Acting Deputy Commissioner for Operations at the IRD, Karine Waugh, says the matter has been reported to the police and an investigation is underway. The Ministry of Education says it will be providing additional support for primary school students who have failed in 4 attempts to achieve mastery in the Grade 4 literacy test. More than 6,000 students are to be placed in special classroom settings designed to improve their literacy standards. Minister of Education Andrew Holness says the new policy is intended to give these students a second chance. Holness told his colleagues in Parliament on March 2 that the initiative will be introduced under the Alternative Secondary Transition Education Program, ASTEP. He says ASTEP centers are being established in select primary, all-age and junior high schools across the island to host students who have not attained mastery of the Grade 4 literacy test. The Education Minister says that at the end of the first year of ASTEP, some students will transition to secondary schools. He gave the assurance that under the new program, specific and special learning needs will be addressed and their progress constantly assessed. The Constituency Development Fund Committee of the Jamaican Parliament on March 2 approved some 21 projects at its final sitting for the parliamentary year 2010-2011. A week before, the committee had staged what was believed to have been its last meeting. However, committee members had made an impassioned plea to the CDF committee chairman, Everald Warmington, to set a date for one final meeting. The chairman was reluctant to acquiesce after lamenting the tardiness of some members of parliament in submitting their projects on time. Under the CDF, MPs are allocated $20 million for various projects in their constituencies. In late February, a balance of some $180 million had not been spent from the total allocation of $1.2 billion for the parliamentary year. However, with the approval of the additional projects, it is expected that the remainder of funds for the year will be expended. That's it for this edition of the Parliament Report. Until the next bulletin, I'm Edmond Campbell saying, walk good.